And here once again is Starr.
Thank you, Paul. Well, these days, technology changes so quickly that it's often difficult for computer users to keep up. Now imagine for a moment what it's like for those people who are just now learning what they need to know to navigate the internet. Well, thanks to one maritime woman, the process is a little easier. Louise Latrimo joins us tonight to tell us about her new book, My Parents' Second Computer and Internet Guide, Beyond the Basics Made Easy. Thanks so much for coming in to speak with us, Louise.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is your second visit here because this is the second installment of the series.
Yeah.
Why was there a need for a second book?
Well, it's what everybody asked for. They got through that first book and they got comfortable on their computer. They were doing emails and doing searches and realized they'd like to do a little more now. They're ready to do internet banking, and to do internet banking you should learn about internet security, so you know if you're on a secure site. And people were asking how do you surf around, navigate eBay, and what's that mean? And well, you should be aware of how to look for things that are more secure and that are safe and that are real, so you don't end up getting scammed along the way. There's a lot of good on the internet, but there's a lot of scammers out there too.
Now, you didn't initially set out to become a writer. You were actually doing this to help your parents through the process of getting familiar with the computer.
It truly was. The first book was notes that I wrote to my own parents. My dad was dealing with lung cancer. My folks had been preeminently avoiding computers. They didn't want anything to do with it. They just got an answering machine. And but
an answering machine.
But my mom's an RN, and so they wanted the computer so they'd be able to do more research and help communicate with our very large extended all about family. So they accepted a computer from my brother, and I went out to look for a book, but nothing was simple enough. So I started writing little how-to notes and sending them off to a brother that was in town, and he'd print them off. And eventually I had an awful lot of notes, and when friends started asking for copies of the notes, I thought, well, I could organize them because it's quite a schmozzle. And
now, your first book sold over 8,000 copies. Yes. Did you ever expect it to take off like that?
No, my first printing was 20. I thought, that was it, and then I thought, well, maybe 200. But it's really found a niche. It's so different from other computer books. It's very simple. It's very conversational. It's written from a daughter to her dad and mom. Just the basics you need to know.
Now, do you consider yourself to be a computer whiz?
No. I can navigate my way around there. But no, I've got a brother who's a computer whiz, and 5 words out of his mouth, and I'm looking at him.
You're lost.
Oh my gosh!
So, what would you say the most common mistake new computer users tend to make would be?
I wouldn't say it's a mistake. I think it's a fear. Thinking that you open up a program. How do you open up this program? And once it's open, and when all of a sudden you've got a new page up there, and you don't know if you should save it or not save it or save as, and you can just for fear that they might mangle up the machine, its memory, and mess things up.
And this isn't just for the older readers, because there's stuff in here that I'm going to take on with me to apply to my computer. Were you surprised by the people who ended up buying your book and using it as a resource?
Yeah, I wrote it thinking that it was the 65 and plus, but it's 40 plus, and even a lot of schools across the country have picked it up as a real basic beginner book, and it's great for the libraries, that they can just have it at their computer stations. People can go in and use it. But
have you heard from people what it is they find most difficult about the computer? Is it that initial logging on for the first time and getting to a comfort level?
Well, it's not that getting to that comfort level once you're there, but then it's not knowing what to do. If you don't know that, if you want to search hotels in Nova Scotia, if you just write into your Google or your search engine hotels in Nova Scotia, you're going to get a gazillion hits on hotels in Timbuktu. If those little tips like putting parentheses around what you want to search, so then your search engine will only search that much.
Now, we just have a few moments left, but I wanted to touch on the charitable component of your book. Tell us about that.
Well, because my dad was dealing with cancer during the time that they were learning the computers. The Canadian Cancer Society was phenomenal. They were, I always knew they did great things, but I didn't know how much they did. And so 50% of the profits from all the sales of both books go towards my goal of raising $100,000 for the Canadian Cancer Society. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, and the book's just been launched down into the U.S., so I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there one of these times between Canada and the U.S. We're going to make
fantastic. And I understand your mom may be able to see this interview. She is
it's my brother's.
Your brother's taping it
in BC.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Hi, Mom.
There you go. Hi, Mom. Thanks so much, Louise.
Thank you.
Louise Latrimo is the author of My Parents' Second Computer and Internet Guide, Beyond the Basics Made Easy. It's available in stores across Canada, and as you heard, it's now available in the U.S. You can find more information at www.myparentsfirst.com. Paul?